it feels like this is it's an origin story. It's canon. It feels like obviously you could have gone one of two directions, animation or live action. What drove the decision to go animated
Well,
with this?
actually, one of the hurdles we have on the live action is every time a robot talks, it costs a lot of money. And so,
How much?
well, I mean, it's over $1 million a minute.
Wow.
Okay, so
Yeah.
and the more you have them talk, or the more sophisticated the movie, it adds a lot of money. So in all the movies, in a way, we were restricted at how much character you could get into because, you throw the balance. Plus, we had human characters, so they were taking up a lot of space. And we had this ambition to have Transformers be a planet that transforms, which is wildly expensive if it was CG, if it was live action CG.
Right.
So, this movie live action would have been $500 million. I'm just guessing. It would have been the most expensive movie made ever. So that took us to animation, and one of the surprises of the animation process, I think for all of us, is by giving them more talking time, you come to see them very differently, no matter how long the relationship you've had with them. And I think that's one of the things I hope the audience really digs, is that they're seeing Megatron and Optimus before they're Megatron and Optimus. So they're different characters. They're in that, I don't want to say maturation because that feels like a coming of age story, but they're young adults coming into their own.
Yeah.
And so they have optimism, and they have naivete, and they have ambition in a way that's very different than already Megatron and Optimus, who are more set in their ways.
I was asking Chris how this is a reunion, obviously, with him and Scarlett,
Sure.
and if that was just coincidence. And he said, no, I texted her. I actually asked her to come on board. Can you sort of tell that story from your vantage
That
point?
was a nice thing to hear, because the original character of Alita wasn't as significant as she is today. And Chris's sort of impetus to pay attention to that character in a way we might not have really ended up, we have a great female character in Transformers, which really we've never really had. We've had good ones, but we've never had great ones. And she's a great one, and she's so part of the three-legged stool going forward, or the four-legged chair going forward, depending on how you look at it, that it proved out to be so great. And it's hard to approach movie stars to get to do things, but when a colleague and a friend says, hey man, come on, let's do this.
Nice to have a friend in a high place.
Please.
In that
I
situation.
said, Chris, you got anybody else you want to call? I mean, come on.
What's Chris Evans doing?
Yeah, exactly. How about Robert Downey Jr.? He could be a villain.
You dropped a bomb on us in a good way at CinemaCon this year. You said that the hotly anticipated crossover Transformers G.I. Joe is actually happening. It's one of those like pipe dreams fans are like, oh, that'd be cool. It's never going to happen. It's actually happening.
Yes.
Can you tease it for us? Can you tell us anything about it?
I'm not hiding anything because I don't have a lot yet. I resist the word crossover because it implies sort of a 50-50 thing, and I don't think it's going to be a 50-50 thing. I think it's going to be Joe's going into the Transformers world, or Transformers going into the Joe's world. So we don't have to explain two worlds, because that takes a lot of screen time, and also you then have to do too many characters. When you do too many characters, you don't get to know anybody. So that's really, so that's our thinking. Now we've created a problem for ourselves because we have more fully fleshed out robots from Transformers 1. I don't think we can get away with our versions.
So live action or animated?
It's going to be live action, but I think now we have no choice, because I think the audience will go like, hey, wait a second, we're more robots. Let's go. Yeah. We just had that experience. It's great. That's really our thinking. And, is it a reboot? Is it a sequel? Is it somewhere in between in our timeline? We haven't figured it, but there's a lot of balls in the air right now.
Because I think one of the biggest questions is it going to be legacy characters or all new cast?
It will not be all new cast. Meaning live action people?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I honestly we haven't spent a lot of time. I would imagine that our goal will be to keep the voices the same, or avoid the problem.